Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Build Your Best Life. I am Coach Ricardo Miller, and man, I am excited about this evening talk. Listen, this is called Blueprint for Success. And so, Coach Deborah, hats off to you for all that you are doing with Build Your Best Life. Well, y'all, I'm excited because I'm joined with the one and only RJ Miller. I was telling Coach Deborah, interestingly, we've been invited on her platform a number of times now, and I have another good colleague of mine who just lately requested us to come on her podcast, and hopefully in the months to come we will be able to do that. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome RJ Miller back to Build Your Best Life. Champ, how's it going?
It's doing really good. Well, it's a glad day to be alive.
This is exciting. I mean, you and I have been doing these now for a little bit, and I think history will show that, hey, we can go back and see what were we talking about? What were we talking about in the early years, and so forth.
Well, it is going to be beautiful being able to see this documentation, man. Like looking back to the years in my early 20s and my late teens, in times where you can see us had these conversations, these really holistic moments, and literally see our growth and our dynamic as a father and son. It's going to be really, really beautiful as these things age like fine wine.
Come on, like fine wine. I like that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking navigating difficult conversations. Now, I don't know about y'all, but difficult conversations is not one of those things that is easy for a lot of people. And this past weekend we celebrated Father's Day, and I was thinking when RJ came to the DFW area and had dinner with us, we as a family, we were able to sit down and enjoy ourselves together. And I was thinking, Karen started asking him some questions. I started asking some questions. But the question for us today is we're going to talk about difficult conversations. And so here's the deal. If you're a parent, this is a talk you want to listen to. If you're a son, you want to listen to this. If you're a dad, you want to listen to this. I'm curious, RJ, how old are you now, man? And tell us a little bit about what you got going on, what you're doing, because you're about to be challenged. Okay, there's some questions that are going to be thrown out to you, but tell our viewing audience a little bit about what you got going on. You're not here in the Dallas area. You are based somewhere else right now. Talk to us.
Yes. So I'm out here in Denton, Texas, over at the University of North Texas. Go Mean Green, go Eagles. And I'm currently a student over here studying communication studies, and I'm also a member of the UNT ROTC and a member of the UNT. Oh, not the UNT, but the Army National Guard. And so these are the things that have me occupied up here in Denton and networking and just getting my whole thing done. Whenever it comes to things that I'm getting done here, in my coming months and preparation throughout the summer, is just getting ready for my next big chapter in both my military and academic career. I'm getting ready to train for the 25 Hotel MOS for my advanced individual training, AIT. And when I'm going out there, I'm going to be doing my title will be network communication specialist. So I'll be knowing a lot about technology and Wi-Fi and networks and all other good kind of stuff. So I'm hoping to have a really, really powerful next couple months and close out this year strong, and hopefully come back with some pretty cool skills and get ready to close out the rest of my academic career, finish off that bachelor's, and sail on.
Good stuff. Well, are there difficult conversations? I don't know if you found yourself having those when you were in high school, when you were in middle school, even at college level. You have some friends, you have parents, you have both. Karen and I were, at the different junctions of your life. Now you find yourself every now and again sending us different text messages. You know what I mean? There's been these times where you would have sent me a text, hey, Dad, I want to ask you a question, or let's talk about something. So my question for you is, being a part of the Army National Guard, being a student, tell us a story about a situation that would be considered a difficult conversation. Just so you know, You got a lot of people watching.
Yep.
They want to know what's the scenario, conversation. What was one of those like for you, and how you felt like you responded to it, and what was the basis? What helped the foundation of your response?
What was it? I feel like a great instance and where I'll give a difficult conversation I had recently would be one that I had with one of my good friends who's also in the military. He had just recently joined. He's left for his basic training, I think here in February, so a couple months back ago. But he had gotten injured and he had to come back here locally. Was it for the time that he had gotten injured? But besides the point, the difficult conversation that we came on to have was us talking about the future and his time in the military. And one of the things that one of the things that comes across and is a pretty common practice and pretty common idea for members of the military is, you got everything together. You're unshakable. You're a soldier. You're strong. You can figure things out. And one of the things that I was trying to drill very strongly and firmly into the point for my close friend was the fact that with the achievement and with the bravado and with the strength that comes with the military and the strength that comes with the career path that you're choosing for this time in your life, you also have to think about the future. And you have to think about the things that require a much more delicate touch. And one of the things that I thought was the most important throughout this difficult conversation, throughout the nature of this conversation, talking about two young men who are talking about their futures, things that are very, very important for them. He has a young daughter. He's married. He has a lot of things on his plate, a lot of different responsibilities and things to carry. But the thing that I found to be very important for the nature of our entire conversation was actually the beauty of not saying anything, and in the beauty of holding your tongue, and the beauty of just waiting to hear out the other person's meaning and conversation. Because one of the things I've also learned in the growth of having difficult conversations is that the real maturity comes from the patience and understanding from the other person's perspective. One of the beautiful things about knowing how to have a really great difficult conversation is knowing the balance between having judgment and having security, and understanding the balance between judgment and understanding the patience between others and understanding the perspective and where the other people are coming from. Now, why I give this story in particular is because I feel like one of the things that Jason, I just dropped his name, but one of the things that Jason, my close friend who is also in the military, is dealing with to go on and bounce and deal with is the fact that his own life and his own challenges and his own difficulties, they wouldn't be able to be properly communicated, and I wouldn't be able to understand where he was coming from and why he wanted these certain things without holding my tongue, without hearing out his side of the story, and without hearing where he wants to come from. So I feel like that's one of the major and most important parts about having difficult conversations is knowing when not to say anything.
Wow. I like that. That's a very unique position to take it from. Let's go back for a moment, because I think going back to difficult conversations, I would have probably wanted to pry my way into your life a number of times where we wanted to talk, and I wanted to talk, and I thought you needed to talk. And I can remember us at an IHOP once or twice. You said, "Dad, you don't listen." Oh man, come on. That's what you said. You don't listen, man. You ain't listening to me. You ain't listening to me. You picked up a strategy, man. You picked up a very good, healthy practice in regards to navigating difficult conversation, in that of knowing when to not talk and the choosing not to be so quick to talk, but hearing them out. That's strong at 23 to not, you're a talker too, like your pops, right? Yeah. You're a talker too, and to pull back and say, I'm going to listen. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I got a little bit flustered earlier before I lost my point in my notes, but what the great analogy, what the great connecting point for what my purpose in saying that holding your tongue and silence is really powerful for is I believe that whenever you are having these difficult conversations, the real purpose and the real goal shouldn't be control and moving and placing the conversation where you believe it should go. It should be clarity. It should be understanding both sides of the conversation and dissuading all the different smoke, all the different noise and all the different stimuli that can make the conversation difficult to have. Because oftentimes conversations aren't really difficult in their inherent nature. It's just the things that are surrounding, things that are connected, things that are attached to it. So we oftentimes have to break things down to their more simple, more minute pieces to be able to properly understand each other. And you oftentimes can't get that done in the noise of everything else. And so what I find is so beautiful and what is so powerful about holding your silence is that it detracts from the noise. It detracts from from the hustle and bustle of the conversation, the hustle and bustle of life that both people in a difficult conversation are going to be having and going to be dealing with, And so one of the things that I find was really funny, especially, talking about, going back to when I was a kid saying, oh, Dad, you don't listen, this, that, whatever, is the fact that in the beauty of things, whenever you're really growing and understanding and in progressing and was in a healthy manner, whenever it comes to conversations, is the fact that whenever you're going on and having a healthy, progressive conversation, the two parties should be gaining and should be adding upon each other. I should be learning and gaining more understanding about you. You should be learning and gaining more understanding about me. But the beauty and the intricacies of this two-way path, of this two-way road that we're talking about and having a great and healthy conversation. It can't be made by having too many cars on the road. So in the same principle, in the same way that, you may believe that the best way for you to get out of traffic is you to start cutting up and start cutting people off and start moving quicker and everything like that. Sometimes the best way and the best route to get out of your traffic and get out of the hustle and bustle and get out of the difficult circumstance that you are in life is to just wait things out, and is to be patient, and is to let the noise move. And as the noise moves, you start to see the clearer path. You start to get that clarity that both parties are really yearning for. And whenever you start to get that clarity, it becomes that much easier for the other person to get that clarity. And so
this is so good. I'm gonna stop picking your brains a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening I'm joined with my son RJ Miller, and we're talking about navigating difficult conversations. As a matter of fact, RJ, one of the things that I teach is that the healthiest of relationships are those that can talk about anything and everything. The healthiest of relationships. So let's talk about your go-to strategies that you rely on when you have a hard talk coming up. I know you're dating, you got a girlfriend, some people say women are always right, and they got something to say, but you're a talker, you're a Miller.
Yeah.
Come on, man. We go out. I mean, so how have you been able to use what you've discovered? Because what you're saying is solid. How have you been able to use that when it comes to your relationship, not only with your girlfriend or with family members like your dad, just with persons in authority? Talk to us about your go-to strategy.
Important people in my life, for sure. And this is just personally my principle and what I've been able to do to what I feel like is effective for me. And I believe that talking and ideas and theorizing and everything can only be so beneficial. And so what I found to be very beneficial because I feel like a lot of people may undersell how hard it is to have a hard conversation, how important and how integral it is to be a great communicator, to be able to convey your emotions and how you feel and everything, right? But what I find to be a very powerful and very effective tool is coming back to what I was saying, in practicing that same silence, and is practicing and holding your tongue, And one of the things that you bring up a romantic relation with my great girlfriend and everything like that. One of the things that I found to be a great, amazing practice, which has paid off its dividends every single time, is just wait. And you're sitting there, I'm sitting there, as a talker, we're both Millers, we both get it, and not only am I a talker, I'm somebody who studies the game. I study life, I want to know more, I want to learn more, I want to understand so I can navigate the world more effectively. It's just a core belief in my system, But the thing on top of that is, no matter how much knowledge you got, you still don't know it all. And so that being the case, being the hunger was the person who is so hungry for knowledge, so hungry for progress that I am, trying this different method and really pushing heavy onto the tone of being patient and waiting and holding your tongue, and in times where you feel like you're right, where I feel like I have all the solutions, I have all the different ideas and concepts that we need to bring into our relation, that we need to bring into our dynamic, that we need to bring into our dinners, into our transportation, to our jobs, to our workplace, this, that, whatever. Wait, just hear her out. And then not only just wait and hear her out, then mentally process on your own part. Because one of the things that I feel like I have continued to be hammered on over and over and over again over these last probably 3 or 4 years of my life, but especially this past summer going to basic training, is understanding where other people are coming from and having patience to hear other people's stories out. Because I've oftentimes found that, especially with the frustrations that come from basic training, that if you just leave people up to their own devices and everything like that, you will oftentimes be surprised, man. I would be sitting there in a group of 250 people, and you would think that the simplest thing to do was just everybody be quiet and stand still. But no, some people had to get their word out. Some people had to go and move. Some people had to go and do this, that, and whatever. And being the person who's yearning for knowledge, yearning for understanding, yearning for good communication, I wanted to go for some of these people, because not all of them were just, for lack of a better word, delinquents or whatever. Not all of them were just stragglers or whatever from the group. Some of these people were genuinely trying to do this thing. We're genuinely trying to turn things for the better in their lives, But I didn't see where they were getting at. I'm like, man, how can you say you want to be here? How can you say you want to better your life, but still go and do this? Like, I don't get it. But whenever I'd have these conversations with these people from drastically different walks of life, people from different parts of the world, different parts of the country, different walks of life, have never even had or experienced some things I've experienced, and they've had and experienced things that I've never even fathomed, when I'm having these conversations with people, I'm having my eyes open to things and experiences from these people that I didn't even take into account. I'm sitting here thinking that this like a shorter Hispanic guy who's always just sitting there yapping off in the mouth, that he's just ignorant. He just wants to get his bravado out, that he's always just believes that he's wrong. But I'm coming out to find out this guy has so much stuff going on at home. I'm sitting here hoping and happy for every time I get my phone call, so I can call my people back home, call my mom, call my dad, call my girlfriend, call my granny, call my boys, But he's sitting there every time he gets the phone call, and he's stressed, yelling over the phone, trying to do his best to control his environment back at home and control the things that he can hundreds of miles away. So I'm sitting here seeing this man yell and scream and try to do his best to control things that are out of his hands with his words, And now seeing that practice, seeing those actions within that man, and seeing this being a guy who I know, I've had conversations, this guy has given me advice. This guy has calmed me down in times where I've been frustrated. Seeing and understanding the different perspective, seeing and understanding the different experience that this guy is having with the different challenge that he has on his plate, and how that has built into and how that has created his own personal experience and created his own coping mechanisms, his own way of communication, his own way of expression. It built a better way of understanding and a better way of patience and a better way of understanding and communicating with was not only him, but future reference for all different people, was understanding and appreciating the fact that, for me, one of the things that I feel like I've always been able to understand and appreciate is empathy. I've always been a very empathetic person, but was it to really understand and dive deeply into the whole idea and concept that people are really coming from so drastic different walks of life, man. To this day, I think that one of the things that was the most powerful was a catalyzing factor for me and your relationship to blossom into the beautiful place and where it is now is understanding the walk that you came from in life, and understand the fact that, man, I remember this is on a little bit of a different note, so I know I'm going on for a little while, but this is a little funny, guys. Was a while back I'd seen this post on Instagram, and it was talking about, guys, if you and your dad were the same age right now and y'all got into a fight, who would win? And I was just like, man, boy, my dad would work me. I was just like, man, my dad would have gave me pros, boy. And I was just like, this is a couple years ago. This wasn't because I was sitting there talking about, I was like, man, my dad really came from a whole different kind of lifestyle, man. Don't get me wrong, we have our little points from I'm seeing similarities. I'm seeing, wow, this guy has had some of the same experiences as me. I remember I'd sit there and talk to Karen, my beautiful bonus mom, and everything like that, and about some of my relationship troubles in the past, and she would tell me, you should go talk to your dad about that. And in my head, I'm like, he don't get where I'm coming from, man. He ain't never had to deal with what I'm dealing with all the different women and stuff, whatever. Trying to idealize my future, and man. I remember you would tell me all the time in high school, RJ, don't take things so seriously. I'm like, man, that guy does not get where I'm coming from. I'm trying to settle down, I'm trying to take these women for real, this, that, whatever. I'm trying to find my wife, this, that, whatever. I feel like he didn't get where I was coming from. Later on, come to find out, not even from direct conversation from me and you, but I'm an ear hustler, man. I'm always trying to listen. You were sitting there going on to stories about other people, the other Bahamians, but I'm picking up and hearing your stories about, oh man, what happened with this girl was in the past that taught you this lesson. What happened with this person in the past that taught you this lesson? What happened with your boys in the past that taught you this lesson? I'm like, man, okay, wow. Okay, wait, hold a second. This guy may have gone through some of the stuff that I've gone through. Not only that, this guy's gone through some stuff. So I'm like, man, he might know what he's talking about. So in the same right that I'm seeing, was it my buddy back at Basic Training, going back to my original reference point here, that was it his way of communication, his way of conversation may be completely different, his way of getting points across has had to be a whole different lifestyle, a whole different medium that I've ever even had to fathom, I never have to really raise my voice. It's just not the lifestyle, not the household that I was raised in. But this guy's having to scream and yell. He was also a little extra point in there that I don't know if it might give you guys a bit more context to the story, but he's from New York, man. He got the heavy accent and all that kind of stuff. He's from the Bronx, man. He was sitting there giving him a piece of his mind, So he was sitting there giving him the whole breakdown for it. But I'm like, man, this is the way that his guy was raised, This is the people, this is the environment, this is the way that this guy knows, And so I believe that one of the most beautiful and integral things that come from being able to artfully and understand and appreciate the beautiful mode that is communication for us as people is the silence and the patience to really try and understand the other person on the other side of the conversation, to try and open up this highway to get a little bit less traffic on the road for both of y'all so you can clearly see what destination both of y'all are trying to get to.
So good. So good. Ladies and gentlemen, RJ Miller is live this evening, and we're talking about navigating difficult conversations. Now, let me ask you this question, RJ. Do you ever feel pressure to hold it all in or appear to have it all together? Sometimes that's where people are, and it sometimes really mess people up because they've become really good at holding things in or trying to be better positioned than they actually are. How have you been able to navigate this whole process of, what, I'm feeling pressured. I'm a college student, and this is difficult. This is difficult. Let's talk about it.
So I think that's a great point. I think that is a huge thing that not even just like me personally or was anybody close looking to me, but I feel like people mass across my generation specifically are feeling this in mass, it's just because of the whole matter of the fact that we're dealing with the idea that I was at a moment's notice, in less than half a second, I could pull up my phone here and show y'all 20 something year olds that are all multimillionaires, traveling the world, doing this, that, whatever, living their whole kind of favorite lifestyle. And to me, showing a lifestyle and showing a world and where everything's together, everything's supposed to be perfect. And so for me, what I found to be very, very powerful, found to be very, very integral for my life is understanding and appreciating the fact that comparison is the killer of kindness, man, killer of joy, killer of all things that are really going to be beneficial for your own life.
Say it again.
Comparison is the killer of kindness, the killer of joy, the killer of great things and beautiful things that are going to be coming from your life. Because like Howard just said, and all the beautiful was, man, I just went on a whole 20-minute ramble. Just went on for like 10-15 minutes talking about the beautiful intricacies of different people in their lives and their lifestyles and everything like that. So taking that into account, why in the world would we then try to place ourselves to compare ourselves to someone in such a drastically different position? That's not the beauty in the art of communication. That's not the beauty in the art of real empathy and understanding. But that's what people are really getting caught up on. What I feel like whenever it comes into idealizing the fact that you need to have everything together. That's not That's not the goal of what we're supposed to be doing here in our effective living, in our building of our best lives, in our apex of our human experience, it is what's conditioned for us, was with the fact that we have social media showing us all these different beautifully lavish lifestyles with so many people who are missing all the struggles that you may be experiencing. But it's a true thing that I feel like that I have to constantly remind myself and constantly remind to other people around me that the world is nowhere near as perfect as the multitude of screens that you're watching shows you. Not even close, man. Like, and the thing that I feel like has I feel like I'm really old at 23 to be like so drastically pulling myself away from the thing that is made as sensationalized. The thing is, providing the platform for us now, technology, our screens and everything like that. But I feel like the principle just hasn't been very well explored and very well taught for a lot of people. A lot of people my age, and honestly just a lot of people in general, because social media didn't give us a class. They didn't give you a class whenever you got Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Snapchat or TikTok or any of that. They didn't give you a class on the fact that you're watching these people's lives and you are entering this space, what is effectively an entire lifestyle for you now. People are spending just as much time on their phone or just as much time on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or whatever social space, whatever online space it is, that they would be spending in recreational activities, man. I haven't played basketball in a good while now, right? But I still stay pretty active, still work out, this, that, whatever. I used to play basketball for like 3 hours a day. Whenever, like, this isn't even like going far back to high school. This is when I was in community college. 3 hours a day. I consider myself to be pretty separated back from social media, but I still probably have at least a good hour and a half on Instagram and social media, style, whatever, all those different social media platforms. So I'm spending an hour and a half in a whole different space that is showing me perfect all around me, showing you flawlessness, showing you people who are living their absolute best life, you are watching the curated, the cream of the crop, an algorithm that is perfectly made to show you what you want to see. You're spending what is equivalent to a recreational activity. What is a major part of your life, man? I used to identify my whole lifestyle used to be shown with basketball, man. I used to have basketballs up everywhere. I used to have my jerseys up, used to have pictures up in the house and stuff, whatever. And that was a large, major character defining trait of myself, right? And so that's only natural to invest that much time into something and for that to be the case, So I'm building a big concept here, y'all. But I'm trying to pull it here together. So we're investing and we're putting in so much time for this large core concept here. Social media was it for my comparison here for basketball. If I'm putting in 2, 3, 4, 5 hours a day in basketball, whether it be playing it, whether it be investing into the media, whether it be talking about it, or all these different mediums, of course, basketball is then going to play a much larger part in my identification for my own personal values, as a fan, as a player, as someone who feel like I understand the sport at an analytical level, it's become a part of myself, in the same right that it may be for communication or for self-betterment or for religion or whatever it may be. If you put hours into something, it is going to become a part of yourself. It's just how things go, it's a part of your craft. Whether you want it to be or not, if you putting in hours in the day, it's gonna become a craft of yourself. One of the things that I feel like it's a great little term, but if you want to become professional in something, you got to put in your 10,000 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to keep in mind what you're putting your 10,000 hours into, because if it's into social media and if it's into a space, and I'm not trying to just demonize social media as a whole, but if it's into a space that is showing you and reflecting upon to you a perfect lifestyle. A lifestyle is not only a perfect lifestyle, but a lifestyle and a system and a mantra that is perpetuating the rewards and not the effort. What else are you going to expect for yourself? All that you're feeding yourself all the time is the end goal. It was whenever I was playing basketball, man, the major part that didn't take up my day wasn't just hitting game winners. All I watched was game winners all day, I'd be a terrible basketball player, because all I'd sit there and think is that, all I need to do is just practice the fadeaway three straight from the corner. Hit all the biggest, craziest shots. But no, that's not the key principle that we need to be focusing in on here if we want to continue to build up a true fortitude, true dominance and true strength for yourself, to not look like you're holding it together, but to actually hold together. You have to build it. You have to build up that 40. You have to put in the true 10,000 hours towards something that's going to be truly beneficial and helpful for your long term, for your holistic goals and what you want to build your best life, to build your effective life. Whether it be your five most important key tools, which I was about to give them to y'all, but y'all gonna buy that book, man. Go tap Ricardo, was Coach Ricardo Miller, go check it out for yourself. But faith, family, finance, and I won't give y'all the last two. Let you go and find out for yourself. But if you just choose three to go and choose three to go and truly dive yourself into, to go and put in your 10,000 hours of work, not of the reward, not of seeing these people already achieve the thing you want to get to, but understanding and truly diving into the work and the effort, and not only doing the mental effort to understand and see the work and effort, but to do it. It don't matter how many times you watch somebody practice the move, you got to do it. You got to practice. I got good at a crossover not by watching Damian Lillard do it a million times, but by doing it. I got good at speaking not by watching other people speak, but by speaking. You get good at building the fortitude and holding all the things together by doing it, by getting good at the individual things that make you the person that you are. Don't idealize and build this whole image of the reward system. We as a society and we in social media are so caught up on our reward system. It's everywhere, man. We can download an app like that all it's going to do is just give you the instant dopamine you want. It's not even just a matter of the dopamine that we have now. You can live off of it. Social media, you can have the full lifestyle with it. So you have to really put in the work and effort to understand too that there comes a balance with that. If you're going to chase the likes, you're going to chase the algorithm, you're going to chase the glitz, glamour, and gold that you're going to see online, understand there's still going to be work and effort put in behind that. You don't get to 10,000 likes. Was it just by posting a viral video? It doesn't. Was it the best editor in the world right now? It's probably we don't even know his name, but he's working somewhere doing some backlog hours for someone who has already done the backlog hours and just has the face and the fame. So do your work and do your effort to put in the hours, put in 10,000 hours, and then I promise you the dividends will then show result afterwards. Just like in the same principle for practicing silence and practicing patience, it's a whole thing for the amount that I've seen these patients and seen these holding of my tongue and seeing that seeing that the holding of my tongue and seeing that silence and patience has paid its dividends. So wrapping all that up to say, understand and appreciate what your end goal here is. Build out your plan for what you want it to be, and then put in the work and put in the due diligence and the 10,000 hours to make it happen. Understand the fact that you're not just going to get the reward. It's a beautiful thing to have that reward. Have it. You want to know what your 10-year goal is. You want to know what your 5-year goal is, what your 1-year goal is, your 60-month goal is. But understand, appreciate the fact that work that is going to be required to get there, because it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a good little bit. Yeah. So yeah, that's the advice I got for holding it all together, staying strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. How to hold it all together. Listen, RJ, when you were 23, when I was 23,
yep.
When I was 23, I couldn't express myself the way you express yourself. But like you said, you've been putting in the hours, right? You've been putting in the hours. So, ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about navigating difficult conversation. And so just as RJ just said, you can put in the work, put in the time to make sure that along the way you're getting better at this. Okay? Along the way you are getting better at this. Put in the time, put in the 10,000 hours. Okay? And it's 10,000 hours sound like a lot, but if you, like you mentioned, if you start putting in an hour a day, over time that adds up. If you start putting in 3 hours a day, it adds up even more. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And when it comes to dealing with difficult conversations, you want to make sure that you are acquiring the skill set to improve in that area. So somebody would say, well, I just don't know how to talk. I just get frustrated. I just get overwhelmed. I just got too much going on. Well, start with a small bite-sized piece of addressing this. What can you do? Start with what RJ said first. Shut up. Don't say anything. Just start there. Then start observing. That's 2 things. If you would talk less and observe more, you'll be amazed how much growth you would have along the way. RJ, what keeps you centered when you're heading into a tough conversation? You realize this is going to be hard. This is going to be strong. And a lot of times we could beat ourselves up before we even enter the room.
Yeah.
What keeps you centered and cause you not to blow it before you have to dive into something that could be what they call challenging or difficult?
What I feel like what has been one of the most powerful tools that I've used in difficult conversations over, like I said, I've had a lot of very difficult conversations over like last year or so. And I believe that one of the things that have been the most powerful is identifying what my truth is before I go into the conversation. And once I identify my truth, I hold on to it. And then once I go out from there, I just build around. And so to give further context on what exactly I mean by that, going on further, I mean that before I go into a conversation, I want to know what I want to get across. What's your purpose? What's your goal? What do you want to get out of this? Is your goal to make the other person feel something? If that's your goal, that's a really difficult goal, because it's really hard to make anyone feel anything. And also, we're not going to get in the whole dichotomy and the philosophy of all that. But I want you to understand, appreciate, and truly understand what your goal is. Once you understand what your personal truth is and you identify that, hold to it, and then just stand strong to your truth throughout that conversation. And understand the fact that throughout all the difficult emotions that are going to come in a difficult conversation, they're going to hit you, that you hold on to your truth and you hold steadfast to whatever that is in this conversation, what your goal, what your purpose was. Then I want you to move on and to continue to, once you hold on to and appreciate and center into what your truth and what your goal is in the conversation, you can then understand, appreciate the fact that no matter what result comes from the other person's conversation, your piece is whole. You're not yearning for anything else from the other person. Because at the end of the day, one of the things that also becomes difficult from having a difficult conversation is whenever you're yearning for another piece from the other person. And that's what can continue to make things emotional, can make things messy, can make things volatile. It's because in a difficult conversation, both parties are going to be experiencing hardships. Both parties I'm imagining in a difficult conversation, it's never going to be easy for one person. And if it is, that's even harder of a conversation because you're already fighting an uphill battle. But whenever it comes back into the fact that whenever you're dealing with a difficult conversation that is a two-way path, or even difficult conversations that are a one-way path, coming into an understanding and appreciating the fact that you have your own truth to bear, and you hold on to that truth, and you clearly, and coming back to the clarity and the patience and the silence, and you lay across that point. As long as that point comes across and you have that wholeness within yourself, you should be okay. You should be settled within yourself to know that you've done your part. Because at the end of the day, you cannot base your wholeness, you cannot base your peace upon someone else's actions, upon someone else's feelings. You're going to be fighting a losing battle. You're going to be losing every single time.
I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, man, RJ Miller joining us live this evening. RJ, I told you. Coach Deborah, thank you so much for inviting us to be a part of Build Your Best Life and having this father and son talk with your audience. You know, we got another podcast lined up. One of my good friends, she reached out and says, hey, RJ, Ricardo, I want you and RJ to do this talk. And so we'll be doing another talk like this. But before I go on to my last question, who's going to win the NBA championship? Who's going to win?
Man, Pacers, please. I need the Pacers. Indiana. Tyrese Halliburton was worried me last game, but hey, man, I need the Pacers to pull through.
So why you ain't feeling
Shea Gilgeous-Alexander?
Why you ain't feeling our neighbors, Oklahoma, man?
Man, what was it? So I got something to bear with y'all, right? I'm a sucker for an underdog. That's my truth. That's my truth. Whether it's Rocky Balboa, whether it's Creed, whether it's the Indiana Pacers, tonight? No, well, not tonight, but the Indiana Pacers in our current finals series. I'm a sucker for an underdog. And the Pacers quite literally are being headed by a guy who was claimed and voted to be the most overrated player in the NBA. And so to be voted the most overrated and within that same season hit a game winner in every series and bring your team to the NBA Finals against the best team in the league, that the Oklahoma City Thunder, they're the most polar opposite of underdogs you could ever hear. Like, don't get me wrong, I love greatness too. That's one of the things that also makes it a difficult thing as a basketball fan, because I love underdogs, but I also appreciate greatness, the greatness of the craft. OKC is a great team. They built it from the bottom up. They got great players. They got great young players. They got great old players. They got great coaching staff. They got great GMs. They built the team great, man. That is a good team. But man, that's free. Everybody's expecting for a good team to win, man. I ain't trying to see all that. We seeing Tyrese Halliburton win a game winner every series. I want to see it again. I want to see the underdog pull it off. So that's who I got. Pacers.
Okay. I think Karen is pulling for Oklahoma. And so we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Hey, let's dive into that last question, man. Just tell our viewing audience just some principles, man. Difficult conversations, nuggets, principles for navigating this journey called life, for building your best life. When at the end of the day, you've said some already, you may want to reiterate them, but take your time and just drop a couple of them again as we get ready to close. Thank you so much for sharing. One of the problems, and I found that it's in life, is a lot of people are afraid of difficult conversation. And so to be able to learn how to navigate them and have discovered certain principles that work, like you mentioned just now, your truth, you realize, okay, I don't have to raise my voice. 100%. Okay, I don't even have to talk, right? I've just chosen, I don't have to allow my emotions to get out of control. That's a couple of things right there, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to let your emotions get out of control. Yep. You can learn how not to say anything, right? I just gotta say something. You don't.
Yep.
You don't. And you could choose to hear the other guy.
Yep.
You could really choose to hear the other person. As I mentioned earlier in our talk, I can remember the times when you would say, Dad, you don't listen. And I would say, over the past 5 to 8 years, you've helped me not only to listen to you, but to listen to so many other people. Because I've had to learn that, one, I wasn't listening. And the person closest to me called me out. And that was you. And that was true. And as I self-reflect, I started to realize I was speaking to be heard, not to be understood. And until I learned to stop talking and listen, which was your opening point, which was very, very strong, it, like you said, it changed the narrative of our relationship and brought us to a much better place as a father and son with our journey. And so hats off to you for what you've shared with us, and being 23 years old, being able to walk life with this level of understanding when it comes to difficult conversation. And guess what? Your journey of having to confront difficult conversations are just beginning. Because the more you get seasoned in life, the more you're going to find it's going to be true in your career. You're going to find it to be true in your relationship. You're going to find it to be true when it comes to your social life. You're going to find it to be true when it comes to dealing with your health and your finances and all of this. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, you can't lose it. You have to manage it. So somebody said, I'm just going to lose it because it feels so difficult. Don't allow what is difficult to cause you to lose it. So RJ, that's my ending spill. I want to hear yours. I want to hear, what is your takeaway for those who would be watching us and hearing this whole talk about navigating difficult conversation? Because there are a lot of people who are listening, and there are some conversations that need to be had, and they haven't embraced the whole concept yet, because they are afraid to confront, to address, because of what they've experienced before. People have lost their tempers, people have been over-talked, people feel bullied, and so forth. So give us your spill, difficult conversation as we navigate this Build Our Best Lives journey. What do you say to our viewers?
So I feel like you covered like all the roots of all the great points that we went throughout this entire conversation amazingly. So I'm going to keep it really, really, well, I won't say short, but I'll keep it concise with one point. And that's to say, I want everyone to, whenever you're going into these difficult conversations, I want you to start with care. Start with empathy. Was it because whenever it comes into all the beautiful things and all the beautiful dynamics that I feel like come from dealing with and artfully navigating difficult conversations, it all comes in basis, starts off with, if you have the patience to care for the other person, to let them speak the silence of those conversations, to let them get their piece out. And even more artfully, whenever it comes to the difficulty of angry conversations, volatile conversations, heated conversations, whenever you can have the ability to have empathy and understand where the other person is coming from, it becomes even more powerful, because that means that you can understand the pained plight. One of the most powerful human emotions that we've ever had and ever experienced, is one of the major bases for us as a society, is pain. Was it, whether it be the basis of the idea, a little fun fact for y'all, was a little anatomy and biology fact. Spice is actually just pain. It's just the pain that the human receptors have adjusted to appreciate and to like and understand, So that comes into the basis to tell you guys this thing. Pain is one of the things that is the basis for our mass human experience. It's what puts us in line. It's what gives us all the rules and regulations throughout our life. It's what keeps us in line. It's what keeps us going, right? And being able to understand and conceptualize and empathize with other people's pain will put you in such a powerful position as a person, because it then distances you away from the scary thing that then is ego. and understanding and seeing yourself as above and seeing yourself as distant or far apart from other people's conversations and other people's experiences. Because then once you start to do that, then you start to distance yourself and further yourself away from enlightenment, from even seeing yourself in the wrong. Because then once you start to lose the wrong, once you start to blur the line between the right and the wrong, once you start to blur the line between what people's pain is to why people are experiencing these pains, then you start to lose your ability to even understand where other people are coming from. And once you do that, the conversation is dead. The beauty and the real purpose and the goal of having a good conversation, it's gone. Because you no longer see the end goal of what this other person is trying to get to come to. It's effectively like closing the exit to the highway. If you're closing the end goal, if you're not seeing where the other person's trying to get to, and where all the machinations, where all the pieces and the part of their own life story are coming from their different painful experiences, then you won't be able to empathize. You won't be able to create this conversation, create this dialogue, and get past this difficult chapter in conversation with them. So bring it all back to say, I just beg and implore and plead for all of you, whenever you go into these difficult conversations, go into them with care. Go into them with love and with empathy. It's one of the things that I'll give like a little personal anecdote to say, for me and my dad's me and your beautiful relationship to what it's become to now. And whenever I first whenever I was graduating high school and I moved in with you, one of the major like catalyzing pieces, what like really pushed me along to say, hey, this is the choice that I'm standing on. Is a matter of fact, I was just like, man, like me and this guy have so many like synchronous parts of each other. I see myself, I remember I had this picture. You had this picture in one of our, in the old church. I think it was Empowered Word. But you had a picture of you in black and white and you're holding a coconut. And for years as a kid, I swear I thought it was me. I thought it was me for years. And so I think I was like 13 or 14, I finally asked him just like, when did you take that picture of me? And he was just like, that's me. And I was just like, wow. Okay, that guy literally looks exactly like me. So, growing up as a kid it definitely didn't see eye to eye in a lot of the different communication avenues and methods that me and you had. But what the thing that changed and the thing that shifted the entire perspective for me on it was understanding the fact that the pains and the experiences and the things that made you into the person that you are. And then not only understand those things, but empathizing with them to understand the fact that, if I were to experience and go through these same things, I know I'd come out a different kind of way. I know, put yourself in someone else's shoes, put yourself in someone else's circumstance to know and understand the fact that to get to where they are, to get to even the conversation that you're having at this point, it took battles, it took fights, it took survival, regardless of whatever the point is that you guys are having this conversation in. Whether it be you feel like that person wronged you, you feel like that person deserves worse, is that whatever. That person man, if they are breathing here today, they survived a year, they survived 3 years, they survived 19, 23, 40-something years, 50-something years to get to that point. And I guarantee you through those years, they experienced strife, they experienced struggle, they experienced pain. And sadly to say, not everybody has the know-how and has the awareness and has the internal recollection to understand and digest and to be able to navigate that pain, to be able to communicate effectively with others. Not everybody has that. And once you have the know-how and the understanding for other people and know that that's what the process and the going how for other people is, I'm sorry to say, y'all, but it's kind of your responsibility to then navigate and grow that for other people. Because I was also one of the major principles that I live on for my life is once a man knoweth, he can no longer remain ignorant. And then once you know these things for yourself,
Say it again.
Oh, yeah, man. This is a good one. Once a man knoweth, he can no longer remain ignorant. Because once you go out into life understanding and knowing that these people are going through these hardships and challenges, man, it's just a matter of fact that you're hurting yourself. You are purposefully eating the poison. You are just deciding to poison. It's like another great little phrase I had heard one of the days. It's like, if you're angry at someone and you just continue to hold on to that resentment, it's like you drinking poison and expecting for someone else to die. If you are going out into the world full know-how, knowing the fact that other people are dealing with these pains, dealing with these strifes, dealing with their own personal struggles, and dealing with their own different ways to get back to equilibrium, just figuring out their ways to live their life, man, if you can take that knowledge and still take that and disregard it and still decide to communicate and to move throughout life, disregarding other people's pains, you are no better than the other people inflicting that pain. You are consciously deciding to contribute and to feed back into this giant machination and system that is all this negative pain and hurt in the world. If you're just deciding to continue to be a bad communicator and be someone who doesn't want to hear someone else's side and doesn't want to hear where someone else is coming from, you're just perpetuating and creating more of these same systems. The first step starts with you. And I know it may not feel personal.
Again, that's another one. The first step, go ahead, bring that back.
The first step starts with you. It may not feel like your own personal actions are going to have that much know-how for someone else to come back and treat you that same kind of way, but I promise you it does. And the amount of times that I've personally put into practice with me and your relationship, with me and my girlfriend's relationship, with me and my mom's relationship, with me and my longtime friend's relationship, all the times that I practice patience and practice just hearing people out and hearing and trying to understand the pain these people are coming from, these relationships have blossomed. These relationships have become more beautiful and have reached heights that I could have never fathomed before. And we're only getting started. Like how you said, I'm only I've only started my journey navigating these difficult conversations. I've only started the journey and understanding and truly appreciating the different paths and walks of life that these people are coming from. Yeah. And we are only getting to be able to further and more deeply and grow these relationships and grow these bonds with each other. Because, man, once you get that part, I won't say all the rest of his culture, because, you will still definitely experience hardships and experience strifes. But, man, it becomes so much easier because now you got someone in your corner. You got someone else of like mind. And when you have someone else of like mind, the game changes. I know you firsthand. If y'all don't want to listen to a young 23-year-old someone say it, listen to Coach Ricardo say it. The people, your network matter. You have those people that are on that same kind of frequency, those same go-getters, those same people who are people of my generation, what we call them dogs. Those people got that same dog in them, that same hunger, that same get up.
You gotta say that again. The people in what? You gotta say that what? I got that people here. You said it. The people in your.
The people in your network, the people in your circle matter. People of like mind, people of the same conscience, people of the same mission, of the same cut. Birds of a feather flock together, kind of thing. If you surround yourself and then perpetuate these same mentalities, perpetuate the same patience, the same wealth of forgiveness, of the same wealth of joy and love that you have to give to others, and in these conversations and understanding others, you will continue and start to build a village around you. And once you build this village, it can only grow. It can only continue to perpetuate and grow, and build exponentially, and build upon to build things that you may have never even seen or fathomed to be possible. So great thing to say, and great thing to wrap it all up with is move on with love, ladies and gentlemen. Go out there with love and go out there with patience and see where the people are coming from. Start with care.
You said move on with love.
Move on with love.
With patience. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it just now. Move on with love. Move on with patience. Move on with care. Yeah. Those were RJ's words. RJ, man, listen, I love and appreciate you, man. You are awesome. You're doing extremely well. And like I said, your journey has just begun. But I believe your best days are in front of you. I'm so, so proud of you. And I'm telling you, as you work these principles that are in your head and in your heart, and you put in your 10,000 hours, okay? You got to put in your 10,000 hours, okay? You got the nugget. Now you're going to have to work it until you make it. Yeah. And so in the words of my spiritual dad, Apostle Raymond Wells, this is what he said to me. You're going to have to live what you've been teaching. Yeah. When life punched me in the face and I was going through some of my most difficult seasons, he said, you have to now live what you've been teaching. So know that you have presented your case and it's well presented. We have it documented now, RJ. We have it documented that you presented the case and it was very clear. Now I'm challenging you as your dad. You're going to have to walk this out time in and time again. Yeah. Because knowing the truth by itself doesn't set us free. It's the application of truth that liberates us. But so you said it, ladies and gentlemen, RJ recommended, highly suggest, advised all of us to put in the work, do the 10,000 hours so that we can become the pro in what we're pursuing. Navigating difficult conversations is a part of life. It's a part of life. So thank you so much, Coach Deborah, for inviting RJ and I to come and talk about this subject. He was the keynote speaker here, ladies and gentlemen. I just asked the questions, okay? And I'm grateful to be able to be a part of a moment like this where I can throw out the question. He in turn gives me the answers that he believes everybody needs to hear. And so RJ, continue to do well. The world is watching. Your best days are in front of you. And guess what? You said it during our talk. It really doesn't matter what they think. You just got to remember what God says. You work it into what you do on a daily basis and watch the rest of your life becomes the best of your life. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Build Your Best Life. Go to our website, learn more about this incredible organization, become a partner, support Coach Deborah and what she's doing. I love her vision. I love her commitment to bringing valuable content from a virtual standpoint to help mothers with sons, along with helping young men to build their best lives. So stay connected. This is a platform that needs you to stay tuned. If you're watching for the first time on YouTube, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, and share. On behalf of RJ Jr. and RJ Sr., good night, everybody.